the first part of my full-size replica Batpod build. What is a Batpod? It is one of these. It's Batman's motorbike from the Dark Knight Trilogy. Now this is going to be a non-functional replica, as it'd be very difficult to make this road legal. So as if it was able to be driven, I wouldn't be allowed to drive it. What's the point? So it's going to be full scale. It's going to be about 12 foot long, and I'm making it out of metal. Now for a closer look at what it looks like, here's a 3D model I found online.
So how do you go about making a 12 foot long replica of Batman's bike? We need some reference material, and you can look at all the pictures in the world, but it doesn't really give you an idea of what goes where unless you do all these calculations and measurements and things. It's a pain in the butt and takes ages, and I've got less than 2 weeks to make this thing. Yeah, less than 2 weeks. I'm an idiot for setting myself these deadlines, but you know, at least it's going to get done quick, I hope. So yeah, what I'm doing is I've found a cool website called Sketchfab, and it's got loads of 3D models and all sorts of artwork people have done. This particular model is by Lunatic Cat. You can't download this or anything, which is a shame, but you can view it in a 3D viewer, so you can view the model of this Batpod from any angle you like. You can zoom right in to get a close look at, you know, all the little details they put in it. It's a very high quality model. Like, I don't know what the hell that's supposed to be, but it looks really cool anyway. The attention to detail there. It's got some sort of weird radiator looking thing at the back here, some footrests and all sorts of stuff. Something that looks like it might be a battery here. Look. So yeah, that shows me what goes where and rough size of things. I say rough size of things because you can't measure it while it's in this viewer, which is a bit of a shame. So what I've done is I've printed this out from like this angle, print screened it, printed it out, then rotated it slightly, print screened it from another angle, etc, etc, from all sorts of angles, and then put that over a scale grid I've made. I know that from doing some research that from axle to axle is about 8 foot, so I've scaled it to that, which is quite cool because axle to axle 8 foot is the maximum size of the back of my van. So it's going to be tyres off for transport, and then when it gets to where it needs to go, stick the tyres back on to give it its finished look. I'm also using this, so I don't want to take the laptop outside where it might get covered in all sorts of sawdust and sparks and things from angle grinders. I don't want to damage my laptop, so I've got this tiny little model here, which is a good reference model. It shows where everything goes. It's not exactly the same as a 3D model, but it's close enough to get a decent idea of what goes where. So yeah, I've decided to make this out of steel. I've never welded before, so that's going to be fun. So I've got a big chop saw, some 3mm thick mild steel, and recently purchased a MIG welder. So let's get outside and get some tools out. This is what has been built so far. So we've got the basic frame. This bit in the middle isn't part of it, but it's a support that comes away that just holds it upright so it can't tip over when someone's trying to sit on it, because we won't want this to fall on anybody because it's going to be very heavy. I've got as far as one handlebar so far. These are those ginormous tyres, and the way this works, it's just got a leg on the inside there, and this is the right size to just slip out of that hole. I'm probably going to put some casters on the bottom there, removable casters, for wheeling this about without the tyres on and make it a lot easier. Tools we're using, got this beast of a chop saw, and that goes through this 3mm thick steel like it's nothing. Angle grinder for cleaning up my really bad welds. And talking of welding, I've got a Sealy Mighty MIG 150, which is a gasless MIG welder. And yeah, this is going together really quickly actually. My welds aren't the nicest in the world, but as long as it holds, they don't really look that pretty, as the whole thing is going to be dressed up with some cosmetic pieces and that once the frame is done. So we're going to pick up where we left off, which is the other handlebar. I say we because this is my brother-in-law. He's my extra pair of hands, as some of this can be quite tricky to do on your own, especially when you're trying to hold two big heavy pieces together and weld them at the same time. So we've just ground the edge, well, he's just ground the edge of that, so that'll make the weld take better, because this metal comes a little bit greasy, where they put some sort of grease on it to stop it rusting. So grind all that off, so it's bare metal. That'll make better weld when we weld this piece on, which also needs to be ground down. So off you go. First thing we do is stick our ground clamp on. Now I've got a welding mask, we've only got one of these, so you're going to shut your eyes or look away. I try not to weld your hand.
Cool. So just put a couple of spots on that just to hold it into place. And now my colleague is going to get out of the way. I'm going to go around all four edges on those two pieces there, just to make sure they're well and truly stuck together. And this MIG welding isn't really that difficult. This is essentially a beastie hot glue gun that, instead of spitting out molten plastic, spits out molten metal. So any idiot can do this. Bada boom. Ugly as hell, just like my mother-in-law, but should be strong, unlike my mother-in-law. Right, let's cut another piece of handlebar. This is 3mm thick steel, 40mm box section, it's a 16-inch piece. I'll mark that off. Pencil that I'm probably going to misplace. It's got a cushy little laser that you can barely see in the daylight, but there it is. So line up your pencil mark, clamp it down. Some safety equipment, gloves. Now I'm just going to put my welding mask on because I don't much like having tiny bits of metal spat back at my face. We're a winner. So we're going to grind that off and weld that on. So I ain't grinding nothing. That on? Yeah, of course it is. Right, let's get around the other side. Right, just cut this. After measuring this, I measured this the same size, and they should now fit nicely together. There we go, look at that. None of this is pre-planned. I'm just making this up as I go along based on my little model thingy. So yeah, I can't really plan it all because it might not go 100% to plan. I'll have to change one thing, then it'll have a knock-on effect for all the other pieces. So it's easier just to play it by ear, I find, and it's worked well so far. It's worked well for all the other things I've made. So that's going to need to be welded in there. But first, grind! Thinks he's being paid by the hour. Thinks he's being paid. Do it. I'm gonna go fucker. What's doing?
That's gonna hunk a foul here.
I'm not used to handling something so long. I bet there's going to be some like proper freaking welding nuts watching this, and they'll be like, "What the hell is he doing, the noob?" I don't care. Where's your freaking Batpod? Unless you've got one, in which case don't comment. Oh, that's the best weld I've ever done, and it wasn't even on camera. Shut up! Shut up, Martin! Shut up! It's the best ever. That's a brilliant one. That one. It's a professional one, but unfortunately, it's the other side. You can see. Right, the handlebars are solid as hell. We're now trying to figure out where to put the knee stirrup thing. So, let's instead of getting some paper out and some rulers and some measurements and crap, I've piled on some metal here to simulate how high the seat's going to be. And I'm going to sit on it, which will, one, help me figure out where to put those knee things, and two, it'll be cool, I'm going to sit on the bike. And three, I'll see if my welds are actually any good, because if it all falls apart, then I might die. It's comfortable as hell. It's safe, isn't it? This is nice and safe. I swear to God, if this pinches my little Dark Knight, I will not be pleased. Okay, I'm not going to have 3 on there, that's dangerous. I feel safe like that. I can always lift myself up if need be. I'll be on there like that. I'll be back a bit. Are my knees in it? I can't see. Are my knees in the middle, roughly? Yeah. Yeah. Put the pull the welder back so the handle is touching the top of my thigh. I can probably, if I was lifted up a bit, yeah, I could be there. Just back touch more. Stop. Now, my knees, I would say, are in line with the top of that welder too. So it gives me the height I need. But yeah, that felt pretty cool. Whew. Although I don't know how Batman has such a gravelly voice. After riding about on that, he'd get off and be like, "Oh, Batman!" So yeah, looking at that, that looks to be more or less dead centre. Nice a bit further forward. But looking at this, his knee's actually slightly further forward than the centre point anyway, so I'll be quite happy with that. As for height, I said top of the welder, yeah? On this, his knee plate is just yeah, it's probably between the axle and the top of the rim. So, it's long and straight. Oi, oi. It's not quite long enough, that's what she said. Pop that on there. And that's just above the axle. That's a little bit lower than my welder. That's looking about right then, isn't it? Cool. It's quite lucky that I'm pretty much generic superhero height and build, isn't it? That way I can use myself as a point of reference, which is really awesome. I'm glad I'm not like, 5'6". That'd be lame. So these are the pieces for those stirrups. Got this piece here with 2 45-degree cuts. That's going to go on this piece here. And then this bit goes on the side of the bike. And then I'm going to make a knee rest thing go on here. There you go. This is how it's going to look. Keep sat on it, as long as they're my height. Failing that, they'll have to just kind of sit on the seat kind of thing like this and look cool. But yeah, it is very almost done, the frame, and then it'll be a case of dressing it up to look pretty. So, great success so far. So it's the next day, and I've welded these knee rest things. They just need a knee plate on the end there. And as you can see, the centerpiece here, we've proper reinforced that, because that's the bit that's going to be sat on. I'm not too keen on this bit at the front here. There's got like one point of contact, and then it goes off at an angle, and another one point of contact, and so on and so on. If they were to break, for whatever reason, while this was at an event, then that would be a red flag. It's not like you could just hot glue that back together. So I'm going to reinforce those. Right, so what we've got is 40mm tubing, and I've cut a 45-degree angle on one end. I'll set this back to 0. Put that back in, and then cut a 90-degree angle. Gives you this. I'm going to grind these flat. Here's one we ground earlier. Flatten that bit off too, and that will fit just in here like this. Just like this one. Just got to weld it into place. make that a lot stronger. I'm just going to repeat that for all of the 90-degree joints we've got that are just on their own. I mean, any of the box sectiony type bits that are completely boxed off should be okay, but anything that's just two pieces joining each other, I don't want to risk it snapping, so I'm going to reinforce as much as I can.
So we're starting to make the foot plates and knee plates now. My main man Mugden is cutting this sheet material with an angle grinder. He's cutting the sheet material. So this will go somewhere like this. Just need to make the front and the back parts of it.
Right, so I've laid out the parts for the knee plate. I'm using some of the 40mm tubing to hold it at the right angle I need. And I'm just going to tack that into place. Bad. I'm going to do it from the other side now. Now how strong is that? Good question. Well, I'm leaning all my weight on it right now in like some sort of press up position, and that's holding strong. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm going to do the other side now and then get working on the other side knee plate.
Well, there's the knee plates tacked into place just for positioning purposes to make sure they're in the right place. I'm not going to weld them permanently because with those welded there, it makes the whole thing about 7 or 8 inches wider, and that's going to be a problem when it comes to trying to get it through narrow doorways and corridors and things. So I'm going to make it so that they slide on and off and then just bolt into place. I'm not going to do any more of that because it's getting a bit dim out here now. I can't really see the lines I'm making on the metal, so I'm going to start building up the body on this. So that means playing with some plant pots, and I've got a plant pot over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to make the I guess it looks like a fuel tank, but it's not because the bike's supposed to be electric, so God knows what it is, but this is like a body panel, and this has got like a barrel effect to it, so I'm going to use those lines to make sure I can cut nice and straight on it, and then use some body filler on it afterwards.
Panels around, and these are just from B&Q, these plant pots, £11 each. There we go. I'll cut a section up here now so that it'll fit over the square tubing that makes up the body. This is the stuff that makes the body. There we go.
Right, that's my 2 barrel plant pot things on there. I'm going to start welding the stuff to build up the body underneath those, because at the moment it's just random pieces of metal stuck on there to hold them into place, but at least I know how high they've got to be now, so I'm going to start welding them on, but they're not going to be welded to the actual frame itself, because with all of this on here, when it comes to moving it about, there's not really much to grab onto, so I'm going to make this whole cosmetic body piece plus the seat just lift off, so that way when you lift it off you've still got these bits here to act as handles to be able to grab it, to move it from being in the back of a van, for example, to where it would need to be on display. But I'm not going to do that until tomorrow because it's getting very dark now, so I'm going to put all my tools away.
So that's all we've got time for in part 1. In part 2 we'll be finishing the bike, adding the rest of the cosmetic details, which includes the weapon pods on the front of the bike. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel and check out the social media links to keep up to date on this project and other projects. Thanks for watching, bye bye.
Close up of his welds. They are terrible. Won't be in the video, but hey.